The Black Clover hype is real. My goodness, the characters in this series have grown so tremendously. However, in particular, the growth rate of ASTA in all things except height has been unbelievable. The feats yet accomplished by this guy are almost hard to believe, but he continues to prove himself to even the most powerful of presences in his world. With the last chapter, we literally opened up to ASTA splitting one of the most powerful and reputable devils of all time in two with a single swing of his sword, killing the creature immediately. Nama was dead, and although there was certainly an intensity to be had from her presence, Lilith would present us with such an incredibly wicked smile as she looked to her twin. And in but a moment, she would hold onto his corpse and begin to fuse with it, turning the two into one. They'd consider ASTA to be the absolute pinnacle of prey and devote their power to the fulfillment of his end and associated agony. And on that note, the power of this creature was enough to give Not a splitting headache. How terrifying it was to face such an entity. Its fusion wasn't even that of mere addition, but staggering exponents. But no matter. Where there is ignorance, there is bliss, as ASTA, being unable to detect magic, couldn't tell how drastic of a difference this form was compared to before. From there, the being would elevate upwards as it simultaneously coalesced a sphere of ice and fire that dwarfed the entirety of the Spade Kingdom, the likes of which was no problem for ASTA, as he has played this game many times before and would simply bat the sphere back upwards. It would then collide with the devil and begin to consume its form. All the while, ASTA was of course working with a limited time frame, as he only had about 2 minutes left to be in this form, a denotion made evident by the 5-pointed mark on his chest. I have no clue how long it takes for him to recharge his transformation after being shunted out of it, but he managed to do so on his way to the Spade Kingdom, so there's that. And I imagine that this time frame, this recharge time, will likely be a point of interest narratively as to allow other characters to shine and such, before at the last second, when things are most dire, ASTA appears in this form once more. And I know Black Clover has been plagued by Naruto comparisons pretty much its entire run, but to me, this form continues to feel more and more like Luffy's Gear 4th from One Piece. Past this, ASTA would summon the Demon Dweller sword and begin to hack and slash at the massive ball of power. Chopping it up like a poorly cut onion, with this he made his way through the debris of power and towards the devil, to whom such a feat was inconceivable. The creature couldn't wrap its head around such a concept, and Libe noticed this. Having once been at the absolute bottom of the devilish caste system, Libe couldn't believe that he had been granted the opportunity to challenge such a formidable foe, one that reigned atop the caste for millennia. He'd reflect on the gratitude of ASTA at the time of their first face-to-face meeting, then thinking that he was a truly thankful one, that thanks to ASTA he has been able to challenge the unbelievable. And I seriously love the connection between these two. To see them now grow in tandem is such a pleasure, and I'd love to see how it is when there's not such a pressing threat to be dealt with. And again, the devil could not comprehend the reality of the situation. That such a being, someone capable of thoroughly defeating them, cannot possibly exist. That for as long as they have been, all others have been mere playthings to them, as they should be. But with this one, with ASTA, they weren't having fun anymore. They'd shakily question what he was and what the sensation they felt was. Libe was loving this. He was so pleased to see how far the mighty have fallen, as he would educate his blasphemous senior by telling them that what they felt was fear. Now ASTA only had a minute left on the clock at this point, and the devil would recognize this and decide to flee. And if nothing else, they were fast. It was looking as if they would be able to evade ASTA until he was vulnerable. And just as they started talking crazy, talking all that mess, Not would interject with his shadowy tendrils now binding the fiend. How pitiful it was for such a high-ranking devil of such unbridled magical power to cower before a human boy with no magic and the absolute lowest of devils. With this, ASTA would re-engage and split the monster in two, killing it just as his transformation would come undone. Together, ASTA and Libe had won, and what a victory it was. Black Clover, as usual, absolutely delivers when it comes to action. It's really satisfying to see how far these two have come, and I am already excited for the next installment. Let me know what you guys think about all this crazy progression of Asta and Libe in the comments, and while you're at it, be sure to subscribe to Plot Armor with notifications on to keep up with everything that we have going on over here. Because when it comes to bringing you some of the best Black Clover content on the platform, Plot Armor has you covered. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.